How you doing out there, folks? Yes, it's me again. This is the Invisible Man in his recording studio at home. Decided I'm going to take one of the songs that I wrote over 40 years ago. It's one of the first ones. And I wrote it for Neil Diamond. And the title is Real Diamond. I'm not going to discuss it too much here. I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to discuss it afterward. So I'm going to try to do a duet to see how it comes out. And then I'm going to play it afterward, and then I'm going to discuss it. So let's try this. I got so much stuff hooked up here on how this is going to come out. Let me see. It'll take a couple seconds here to line up. If I had real diamond, I'd be rich as I could be. But if I had your love, that would be enough for me. Whenever I look at you, your eyes sparkle like a star. It lets me see you, whether near or far. Real diamond may go from hand to hand, but the love I have for you would be the same in any land. Put on your most beautiful gown, we're going out on the town. You deserve the best, so I'll take you to dinner as my guest. Now that we've finished our meal, I'll show you the way I feel. Close your eyes and put out your hand. On your finger I will place a wedding band. Real diamond may go from hand to hand, but the love I have for you would be the same in any land. I can tell by the expression on your face, this was the right time and the right place. This means we can start a new life as Mr. and Mrs. our man and wife. Okay, now we're going to play it again. Just the song itself without the duet.
If I had a real diamond, I'd be rich as I could be. But if we're going out on the tide. You deserve the best, so I'll take you to dinner as my guest. Now that we've finished our meal, I'll show you the way I feel. Close your eyes and put out your hand. On your finger I will place a wedding band. Real diamond may go from hand to hand, but the love I have for you would be the same in any land. I can tell by the expression on your face, this was the right time and the right place. This means we can start a new life as Mr. and Mrs. or man and wife.
Well, let's see how that came out. I won't know until I play it all back. Okay, so let's get back to the story about this real diamond. Okay, now back in the day, over 40 years ago, I know I keep repeating that, it sounds like a broken record, but it is. I was living at home, working, doing odd jobs and a regular job besides, and living at home. I had no expenses, so I had a lot of hobbies. Coin collecting, antiques, you name it. And one of them was, I liked music, and I started to write songs. My favorite singer was Neil Diamond at that time. He's a little older than me, not that much, but he made it big pretty much while he was younger. So I really just enjoyed it so much, it made me feel so good, listen to his songs and all. So I considered myself his #1 fan, but of course we know he had a lot of fans back in the day. So I started writing some lyrics, and I said, it'd be something if I could write a song like with his name in the title. Not that he needed me to help him with his career. No, that wasn't the point of it. It was just like some kind of idea that I had. Okay, so I came up with, he was known as the real deal. Neil Diamond had that from the beginning. And so I figured real diamond. And it made sense, But now that I had a title, how am I going to make that into a song, I thought about it. I started writing stuff down, and I said, how about if I make it into a story, and, something that could happen, Two people get together, and the guy gives the girl the ring and all this. And I thought about it that way. So I finally took a while, and I got the lyrics pretty much to complete the song with the chorus and all. And then I used to get music magazines and all back then. And in one of them I noticed, turn your poem into a song, And I said, well, I started sending some of the lyrics I had out. And it didn't come back too bad. The demos didn't sound that good, because they just sound like they use the same music for every song, Okay, I wasn't too happy with that. I was getting records and albums and cassettes and everything you could think of. Okay, then I found this George Liberace. When I saw the name, I thought, oh yeah, he's got to be. When I made sure he was related to Liberace, the pianist, and I knew he was a musician also. So I contacted him. I sent my lyrics, and I liked, the return, the way they did everything. They're in California, and I'm on the East Coast, so it didn't seem to matter. I never had a problem. I sent the lyrics, and I would send a check, whatever it was, to do the music and all. They used contracted singers. So when I sent the song Real Diamond, they didn't say nothing about it. And, you can pick the type of music you want. So I picked Neil Diamond Rock. That company that shows you how Neil Diamond was so popular even then. They even had a style of music called Neil Diamond rock. I was shocked. Maybe they did that because I sent a song that said Real Diamond, so I picked that. They use contracted singers. Now you just heard the song, and that singer that they used, he sounded a little bit like Neil Diamond. They knew all this, but they didn't, give me any help to try to get the song to him. All these companies send you part of the deal. They send you lists of different companies, record companies. They send you lists of singers that looking for, new material. Neil Diamond wasn't one of them, but I sent it to the record company, that he did, was doing his songs, but nothing. They weren't interested in all, and I kept doing that. Kept sending them. Finally got to his fan club, and they answered me. And they said he's just not taking outside material. They send me back my material not opened, of course. They don't want any problem. Even his lawyer contacted me, stopped sending it, and that's it. He's not taking outside material. So I was kind of disgusted at the time. I should have known better. But, being young and all then, remember, I'm 40 years younger than I am now. Over 40 years. So I said to myself, what should I do? I had the lyrics, and it really is for him, than anybody else to sing that song, It wouldn't have the meaning like it, when I wrote it. I sent out my lyrics, for opinions and all. They just didn't say, they said it was all right, but you got to keep sticking with it. And they acted like I wanted to make a career out of songwriting. I didn't want to make a career out of it. I did it for the fun of it, because I liked it, I enjoyed it, and all, not to become a big songwriter. That wasn't my idea. You see, it definitely wasn't. Over 40 years later, I'm still not I'm an unknown songwriter. That's what Marie called me, because nobody knew about me but her. She gave me that title, the unknown songwriter. Okay, so I went, after I went through that, I said to myself, why don't I take those lyrics and see if I can make it come to life, act it out. Since if they're saying my lyrics were contrived, it never happened, right? Well, I decided, why don't I make it happen? So I read the lyrics, and I said, let's see. If I had a real diamond, I'd be rich as I could be. So that means I'd have to have, was making a lot of money. But I said, I'll have to save some money up. I decided I picked, since I'd be rich as I could be. I'm living at home with no expenses. I'm doing odd jobs. I have a steady job too. I said, let me see if I can save $20,000. That sounds like a good amount. So I wanted to get a good one, a good ring. So I saved it up. It took about 3 years. I went to one of the jewelers downtown. I knew them because I kept going downtown all the time for one thing or another. I used to look at rings and watches and different things. So I got to know them, and there was a jeweler's row where I lived, not too far away. So I went there and I talked to the jeweler, and he said, what do you want, Frank? I said, look, I'm looking to get a nice big diamond ring with a gold band. He said, well, but how much you want to spend? We have all types, all kinds. He said around $20,000. But he didn't even bat an eye. I guess, when you're dealing with gold and diamonds and all, it doesn't, you're going to have big amounts, So I said, okay. He showed me some settings and different sizes. I said, what kind of a style do you? I said, look, something is about the size of a quarter, and maybe about an inch or so thick, that way, big, as big as it. Want it to look good and big, show up, So I can do something like that. Do you know the size you're going to bring in? The lucky lady? I said, no, I don't have the lucky lady yet. He said, oh, you just want to have it so when you find the right person? I said, yeah. I said, well, what can you do? I said, well, why don't you make the ring size the size that you make the most? He said, that's a good idea, Frank. I'll do that. I know the sizes I make the most because I keep track of all that. There is a certain size that falls right in there because women's fingers don't vary that much, it doesn't. So he did that and all, and I said, take your time, there's no rush. So while he was doing that, I start going out, meeting people and going to clubs, socializing, and I met some girls, women. And then really, I don't know, I said to myself, how am I going to create a relationship to give somebody a $20,000 ring? I said, okay, I'll work on it, I'll keep doing it while he's doing the ring. So I kept going out back, between all the things I was doing. So was talking to my mother because she said, you act like something's wrong. I said, yeah, Mom, I don't want to be tied to your apron strings. I'm almost 30 years old. She says, I understand. I don't expect you to, You stuck by me and all, so I said, okay. But I'll always make sure that, you have what you need and all. So she said, that's good. So I knew, knowing my mother, if I mentioned something like that to her, she's going to try to do something. So she got this friend of the family. She must have told him about it, and he knew this lady near where we lived, and because I used to go to his house and fix things for him all the time, he was busy and didn't have time, and he would pick me up and bring me back. I said, okay. And he asked me, he said, Frank, you think you could go to a lady's house over here near you that her TV's not working? I said, yeah, I'll take a look at it. So he took me there, and he said, Marie, this is Frank. And she says, oh, I'm pleased to meet you. And I said, likewise. And we start talking and all, and I said, let me see the TV. And I noticed the picture was snowy, and I said, oh, you have nothing? He said, no, it just went off. I don't have nothing. So I start fiddling around, because I know about the TVs then. I did a lot of that. I used to fix TVs. It was nothing for me. So I took a look, checked everything, all the connections first. I know the basic things. And I found out as soon as I start touching around the antenna, it came on. So I tightened everything up, and I said to Marie, don't. She said I was moving the TV around to clean it and all. So be careful. If there's any problem, I can always fix it. A bad connection, but I said, you're only getting a couple channels. She said, no, one of them I like, and the other one, I said, you can get more channels than that. She just didn't have them tuned in, There's a way you can tune them in manually. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I got her a lot of channels. She said, oh, Frankie, thank you. She said, how much do I owe you? I said, no, that's all right. Don't worry about it. And then the friend of the family says, I'll pay him. And then I said, here, Marie, here's my number if you need anything. She kept calling me all the time because she wasn't too far away. Sometimes I took the car and sometimes I walked. So I start fixing all the things, and we start getting really friendly and all. And I said, okay, you want to go out, for rides? I took her for rides. We went to drive-in movies. I remember the one drive-in movie that we went to. The title of the movie was Tack of the 50-Foot Woman. That, to me, was one of the things when we drove up. I said, look at that, Marie. Look at that. She fills the whole screen, the girl. And we were laughing at that movie. Because remember, these are 50-foot screens, I guess, whatever they were. That's not around now, but that's what we were doing, those things. And shopping and different things. We were going all over. And then I decided, that, let her, because my mother knew I was staying with her on the weekends. We were getting a good relationship going there, and I liked it because that's what I wanted. I just didn't want to give anybody that real diamond ring. So we were really doing good, and I told my mother, we're going to stop over and see you, and she said, oh, that's good. Mother was waiting there for us when I came, and she says, oh, you're Marie. I heard a lot of good things about you. And we start talking and all. And then my mother told Marie, you want to see Frank's Victory Garden? I said, oh, no. I wasn't too anxious about that. But she said, oh, sure. Yeah, I'd like to see it. So I said, here, Marie, look. Wow, you got a big yard, and look at all the plants. It was the time of year when all the plants are getting fruit. I had green peppers, tomatoes, you name it, corn. I had all kinds of plants, all kinds of vegetables and all. And she noticed that, and she said, Frankie, what's all those plants in the center with no fruit? I said, well, I'll talk about it later. It's a different type of plant. So we went in, and we had dinner and everything. My mother made a nice dinner. We had salad, and my mother said, this salad's from the tomatoes from Frank's garden. Oh, they're delicious. And then we had spaghetti and meatballs and everything. A very good meal. And my mother said, see, Marie, that sauce is from Frank's garden too, the tomatoes. She said, oh, man, that's very good. So I said, okay, Marie, we better get back home. It was the weekend, so I said, we'll go back. And I'll tell my mother, if you need anything, you have my number. Always call me, even though I'm not far away, So we left. Went home, we got, in bed and everything. Now Marie says, Frank, you think I forgot about that? About what? I said, those plants you had in the center. Oh, okay. Okay, Frankie, come on, tell me now. I have an idea what they are, but what? What are those plants in the center? Why are they like hidden like that? I said, Marie, they're pot plants. I can't, I don't, I'm very transparent. I don't lie about things like that. She said, well, how are you growing pot plants? Do you smoke it? I said, no. It's a hobby, another one of my hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies. She said, what kind of hobby is that? How'd you do it? I said, I got a $5 bag from this guy at work, and I threw the seeds out there. And they grew, so I just kind of left them, I picked out some of the smaller ones, but they were growing big, so I figured let it go and see what happened. And when they were getting about the size of the tomato plants I had, I was trying to graft the pot plant with a tomato plant. I tried it both ways. I tried to say, well, let me take the stalk of the tomato plant and take the growing tip of the pot plant and graft it in there, but it just didn't seem to take. I tried it the other way around, and the tomato growing tip, it just wilted. It just didn't. If I kept trying different ways, maybe, because I know tomato plants sometimes when you transplant them, they do wilt, and then the first day or so they come back, but that wasn't happening. So I said I wasn't getting anywhere anyway, Marie, with that. She said, well, why would you do that? It wasn't. I said, well, I grafted cactus plants together, and they grew good with fruit on them and everything. He said, well, putting a cactus plant to a cactus plant is not, that's different. You're trying to do a tomato plant with a pot plant. It's not going to work anyway. I said, well, you're right, Marie. Frankie, you got to get rid of those plants before we get in a lot of trouble. I said, okay, Marie, it makes sense. I'm glad you know about it and all. I feel better. She said, tomorrow, let's see, trash night's the next day. We could put it out tomorrow night. I'll be over there when you come from work or whatever, and we'll put them out, bag them up. We went in the yard, we pulled them all up, and with someone helping, it didn't take that long, a couple hours, and bagged them in the green bags and all, put it all out. Next day it was picked up, and everything was fine. He told my mother about it. She understood. She said, I'm glad you told me. Frank is that way, and at least he listened to you. That's good. She was happy about it, my mother. She didn't get too upset over that or nothing. So everything was going pretty good for a while. So I decided, since Marie discovered my secret garden, if I was going to give anybody the ring, why not her, She stuck by me and all, and we were going together for a while, a few months. And I figured she lived close by and all, and my mother liked her and all too, so it seemed like the choice. So let me see, I gave her a call on the phone. I said, Marie, how about if I pick you up and we'll go to our favorite restaurant, put on your most beautiful gown so I can take you out on the town. And that was part of the lyrics from the song. So I went there and picked her up, and she wasn't ready. I said, come on, Marie, let's get going. It's not, it's time to, I want to eat, and everything. And she said, okay, Frankie, I'm almost ready. So when we went downstairs from her apartment, she said, Frankie, where's the car? I said, it's right there. And it was in that empty spot. She said, what? Somebody stole your car? I said, you got that right. And I was kind of upset, but what am I going to do? How'd that happen? Some guy hot-wired it, something. And so I called the police right away. I reported, let me go in and call them up, get that in. At least I didn't live too far from Marie, so I just walked back home. I said, we'll make it, try in a couple of days, let's see what happens. So I went to the dealer where I got the car. He had another one just like it. I said, oh man, that's good, because he had a lot of the same cars. It was like a 69 Chevy Malibu, 2-door with that vinyl roof and all. I was glad at least I got the same car. Luckily I had some extra money from all the work I was doing and all. So I paid him and all. He said, I said, don't worry, if something happens, let me know if you get the other car back. I told him what happened, the whole story. So a couple of days later, I go there with Marie, and I pick her, and she's ready this time. And I said, Marie, look. She said, well, you got the car back. I said, no, it's not the same one. It's a different one, but it's the same. Over 100,000 miles and all, 2-door, same color and all. She said, wow, that's nice, and it's got air conditioning. I said, that's one of the things the other one didn't have, so I upgraded myself a little bit. So let's go, Marie. It's still like, it was only about 7 o'clock. I got in the car with her, and I said, I looked. I said, look at that. There's a car at the light. It looks something like my car. You can tell. She said, yeah, it's identical. She said, you think it could be your car? I said, it's possible, but you see, it's a popular car and a popular color that I had. Looks like a champagne color. Okay, so look, Marie, hold on. I'm going to try to catch it. She said, you're going to do, why don't you call the police? I said, no. By the time they come in, he'll be long gone. I want to at least see if I can follow him. He's got to be around here somewhere. The nerve of this guy, he was my car. So I followed him. I didn't want to lose him, because he said, Frankie, take it easy. Hang on. So he pulled over on the street, and I pulled up behind him, about a few car lengths behind him. He was in the car doing something. So I called the police from a payphone. There was no cell phones then. Nothing like it is now. They came, they surrounded it, and they got him out of the car. And there was there was a reporter right there doing another story. He saw what was happening, so he wrote it up. It was in the newspaper. So I have a record of that. So they questioned this guy, and he said that he got this car, bought it from some guy in the bar or something, and he was taking it for a test run and messing with the stereo or whatever he was doing. So what happened is I talked to the police. They said, there's your car. It's yours. We got the report you put in. You got your paperwork. Actually, I had the stuff with me, all the paperwork with me. I said, okay, I said, now I got two cars. What am I going to do? I got that $20,000 diamond ring in my pocket, too, Because all this stuff is happening so quick. It only took, the time I picked Marie up, it was only about 15 or 20 minutes that all this took place. I said, well, Marie, I could leave it parked here and, use the car and go, go to the dinner afterwards. She said, well, what do you want to do? It's all right with me. I know it's excitement. I said, I don't want you to, to lose out on a nice dinner. We could go, I said, the dealer wasn't too far from there that I got, and I know he's open till at night, till like 9 o'clock. So I said to Marie, you want to go? Can you drive? She said, oh, yeah, I know how to drive. So I didn't even pay no attention to that, I figured, well, she could follow me, in the new car, and I'll take the stolen one. I said, follow me closely. She knew what to do. She put it in park and drive and everything. She knew what to do. I said, just actually keep your foot on you can actually leave it on the brake, and let the brake up in the car, usually if it's in neutral or whatever speed, So I know what to do, and that way you can follow me. I'm going to go slow and put the flashers on. Well, I couldn't wait, until I got there, because with her behind me, I didn't know what was going to happen. It didn't take too long. It took 15 minutes, but there was no traffic or nothing then. He pulled up and she followed me. I pulled over near this, where the guy's office is there, and I said, look, Marie, stay in here, turn it off, and give me the keys. I didn't want to take any chances with her in the car. She's always trying to move it around and something happened. Okay, so I went into the dealer, and he said, yeah, the car is fine. Nothing's wrong with it. Nothing happened. He said, I want to sell back the car that, the first one. He said, I understand. Because the first one was less money than the second one. But so he still made out on it, because he still made money more for the sale of the second one. So I think he took out for some fees and things and all the transfer and everything. It didn't take too long. But don't worry about it. You got the title for the other one and everything. So you got the temporary tag, so you're all right. So that's fine. Everything was done. I said, Marie, let's go. She said, wow, you're done already? I said, yeah, I wanted to get this over with. Now I had the one car. And I didn't let her drive it. I said, I'll drive it. Well, let's go to the restaurant now. So from that point, it was an exciting night. To think about, I'm going to give her that real diamond ring. And I said, okay, everything was close there. It wasn't very far. It was only 4 blocks, about, 6 blocks to the restaurant. It was just the way things were, the favorite restaurant. So we got there, parked the car. It was a little bit late. I said, well, Marie, what do you want? We each had the food and all, and whatever we wanted, a nice meal and everything. Let's relax. And I said, close your eyes, Marie. And on your finger, I'm going to place a wedding band. She said, wedding band? I said, just don't worry about it. Close your eyes. And I put the real diamond ring on her finger. I said, take a look, Marie. She said, oh my, Frankie, what? It's beautiful. Oh, I love it. It fits perfect. I said, well, it does fit perfect, so you must be the one that was supposed to get it then, because I wasn't going to just give it to anybody. And she whispered in my ear, Frankie, how much did it cost? And is that a real diamond? And how many carats? And all. I said, I whispered back in her. I don't want to be discussing that too much because, people look and listen and all. I said, yep, $20,000 worth of carats. He said, what? And it's a real diamond. I said, what do you think? I'm not going to, I want to do something good, something. She looked at that and kept looking. Oh, I love it. I want to wear it. Oh, Frankie, I love you. And hugging me, I said, calm down, Marie, because, I don't want to take too much attention to that. She said, but I said, Marie, that's very valuable. He said, where'd you get all the money? I said, it took 3 years to save it. So she said, what can I do? Can I wear it? I said, yeah, you can wear it, but I wouldn't flash it, Didn't like that. It attracts too much attention. I said, look, I found a way you can wear it. She said, oh, what are you going to do? I said, well, look, I talked to the jeweler, and he could make me an imitation, to look just like it. I call it a dummy diamond. It's still going to cost some money. It may be anywhere from a few $100s to $1,000, depending. It's still going to cost because, it's still you got to do it's going to be gold, the band, and you're going to have the setting and everything in his time and all. He said, okay, and then you could do that. I said, yeah, I'll do it. So when we go back home, I'll stay with you, and then I'll leave the real diamond. When I leave, I'll put it in the safe deposit box. I already had a safe deposit box for that ring. Okay, so then I went to the jeweler, and he said, oh, you in any hurry? I said, nah. About a week or so, I got it. I got the fake one. I went to the bank and got the real one. Went to Marie, and I said, look, Marie, same box and everything. She said, well, they look exactly the same. Could you tell them apart? She said, no, not really. I mean, I might guess and get it right. But she said, how are we going to know? How are you going to tell? I said, well, this is what they say. A real diamond can cut glass, but a fake diamond can't because it's made out of glass. So that's what, I went by that. So, and she said, yeah, that's good, And I said, okay, so what are we going to do? I said, look. He said, but aren't you afraid they're going to get mixed up now? You took them both out and all. I said, no, not really, because I had the jeweler mark on the inside of the ring and that for Frank or for fake, so you will know to make sure. He said, yeah, because that would be bad if they got mixed up. She said, they do look the same. She tried it on, it fits both the same. She said, that is really something. She said, this way the real one will be in the safe deposit box. And that way, if we ever needed money or something, we have something to fall back on, like for emergency. So I love it. So she started wearing it and all, and then I told her, be careful with it. The fake one looks so real that it's still dangerous. Somebody's allowed to see that ring, and you're going to church or someplace while you work or wherever you go. It's all right. When I gave her that ring, it was like we got married that day. Even though we never got a marriage license or nothing like that. Okay, so back to the story now. Marie said, Frankie, I want to go on. I know you work on the weekends. So it's all right if I go to New York? I said, yeah, but be careful with that ring. You're worrying me with that ring. But no, I want to wear it. I'll keep it kind of covered up. In the bus and all. She was getting around good then. We were doing all right with everything at that time. I didn't want anything to happen. So what do you think happened? I'm at work, and I was doing bookkeeping and accounting, and I used to work late. So I came back, and I had left the lights on and all. I figured, well, while I'm not there, make it look like, that somebody's in there, So I went upstairs, I got ready for bed and all, and I hear some noise downstairs. I said, what is this? Sounded like glass breaking. So I came down with my gun and flashlight. This guy's in the living room there. And I told him, what do you want? He said, I said, hit the deck. Right away, when he saw the gun barrel, he went down, and I kept it on him, and I called the police. So he just broke in, and he said, want to press charges? I said, yeah. But don't worry about it. we'll contact you. We'll take them in and book them and all. And then, yeah, because I had that window open and all. What a mess, you know. So that the police contacted me the next day. They said we interrogated him and all, and he said that he saw you in the restaurant around the corner. He noticed the ring, and he kept following you. And you know, he see where you live, and he knew, and was right. Actually, the back of our yard was like the back of the restaurant's yard, so he knew where the house. So he came from the back way and got in. He said that's what he was after, the ring. And the police asked me, the officer, he said, well, what's that ring worth? I said, it's worth $20,000. He said, oh, no wonder. I said, well, he didn't know, but I didn't tell the officer that, you know, Marie's in New York flashing the fake one. I didn't tell him nothing about that. He said, where was your wife? I said, she is in New York. I said, well, she better be careful, because if this guy spotted that and was trying to get it, you know. I said, well, I was afraid something like that was going to happen. But so Marie came back from New York. I told her what happened. And she says, oh, boy, what excitement. I said, yeah, if we were both upstairs. So I didn't hear this guy. He could have crept to the house and got up there, and, you know, I might not have been able to do anything. It happened for the best, you know. I said, now, Marie, that should be a lesson. Be very careful with that ring. So after that, there wasn't much of a problem anymore with the ring. So I'm sticking with the story about the ring. I'm going to leave it at that, because, you know, I don't want to keep going into it. I mean, I've already posted the song now and the books about that ring and all. So what happened after that all happened? We needed the money later on, and I pawned the ring, and when I came back, we got it back again, and then we ended up having more trouble. I ended up selling the ring, you know, and putting the money in a savings account and all. So, and as far as the fake one goes, well, Marie had the fake one for quite a while, because Marie started writing the story about the real diamond, you know, over 40 years later. And an aide had come to the house, you know, to take place of the other aide that was sick, and Marie was still writing the book then, and Marie must have left the ring, and she took it. She can't prove anything, and Marie told me about it, and I said, look, Marie, if you want another one, I'll get it. Easily get it. I'll go to the jeweler, and he'll make me another one. It's no problem. No, that's a good way to end a story about a real diamond, you know, with the dummy diamond getting stolen. That closes the story. I said, that sounds good. So now you see what happened here with this. If it wasn't for that real diamond song that I wrote for Neil Diamond, our lives would have changed. I would never have met Marie, even though she was in the neighborhood. It's possible, but not the way it all happened, you know, because of that. So let's see now. I'm going to go back to this song. So remember, I did the song, and, you know, he didn't take it, and I acted out the lyrics. And you can see I made it into a true story, because it is a true story, because that's the way it happened. Now, I could play the lyrics again and try to describe it, but basically, after I wrote all the lyrics, I took to say, like I said, if I had a real diamond, I'd be rich as I could be. So naturally, once I saved all the money, that was $20,000. So I'd be very rich if I'm living at home. I have no bills to pay or nothing. Maybe, you know, on the car, yeah, a little bit. I was working odd jobs and everything. So that was part of the song. You know, I said if I had a real diamond, you know, it would go from hand to hand. And the love I have for you would be the same in any land. We stayed together a long time. It really come true. Over 40 years we were together. So the rest of the line, put on your most beautiful gown, we're going out on the town. I called Marie, you know, when I was going to give her the ring. I told her, put on your most beautiful gown, we're going out in the town, and I want to take you to dinner as my guest, because you deserve it, you know, the best or whatever. And she agreed to it and all, and she didn't know that I'm trying to make that song come true, you know, following the lyrics. And then, you know what happened? The car got stolen, and then we still ended up going to dinner, and then I told her after we finished our meal to see how you feel. So to close your eyes and put out your hand on your finger, I'll place a wedding band. That's exactly the way it happened. We went to the restaurant and all. then I could say, we can start a new life as Mr. and Mrs. or man and wife. And that means that we did. We lived together as man and wife for over 40 years. And we couldn't, and it wasn't, anything that would have changed that, But again, if I wouldn't have written that song, or if Neil Diamond would have taken it, of course our lives would have changed, definitely. Okay, so after over 40 years, Marie said to me one day, look, Frankie, you think it'd be a good idea if I would write the memoirs? I said, well, you have time now, we both do, but I'm still busy doing things. I do work in the house, I'm doing odd jobs, I'm still keeping busy, This is over 40 years later. Marie says, what if you feel like doing it? I said, well, how do you want to do it? He said, well, I've been thinking about it for a while, because we discussed, what happened, a lot of things that happened. We play the songs and different things, And she said, what about if we work on it every day, we pick a certain time of the day and do a little bit. I said, do you have anything written down? She said, no. I just want to get started on it. I said, well, how are you going to do it? It's going to be a long story. She said, like they say, Frankie, when I make a long story short. She decided to divide it into 3 books. The first, book 1 is Real Diamond, book 2 is Railroad to Prison, and book 3 is The Electronic Criminal. So she told me the 3 titles. She said, get 3 copybooks. I said, you divided in those 3 titles. She said, you know what they mean? I said, yeah, I know what they mean. I know the titles that you picked. It's very good. Because she said in book 1, Real Diamond, I'm going to make sure that I cover the whole story in that book. So it's really like a condensed version of our life. But I won't go into detail about book 2 or book 3. So she mentions about book 2 in book 1. And then in book 2 she mentions about book 3. He does a chapter and mentions it, but doesn't go into detail. So you could read either one of those books. They didn't have to be read. Just like a trilogy. They didn't have to be. They had different titles. So she explained to me, this is how I want to do it. You get the 3 copybooks, and I'm going to give you all the chapters for each book. Put that in first. I want you to skip a page, just write on one side. That pretty much was the whole thing. We picked a certain time of day. I got the copybooks. I'd give her chapter 1, whatever it was, Purchase of the Real Diamond, we'll say. And she would tell me, dictate to me, and I would write it down. Chapter 2, how Frank and Marie met, the whole story. But it seemed like it was so condensed. I kept asking her, well, Marie, you don't write it down? She said, no. As soon as you give me the chapter, I right away discuss. I know what to say about the chapter. I have it that way in my mind, So it seemed to be working out good. She says, wouldn't it have been good the other way around if you would dictate to me and I write it, because I don't write like you do. You're good at writing and all, the way you print and everything. I said, yeah, but this is something unusual. It took we were doing that quite a while. I kept asking her different things. If there's anything you want to add, you can add. Remember, you had that blank page. And she was telling me when we got to certain parts of the story, on that, after that chapter, put this letter or put this article or put the songs that you wrote and all. So all the 3 books got done. And I said to Mary, why do you really want her to write all that? She said, because I felt like it, and because I think it's a good story. It's different, And I wanted people to know how everyday people live, And she said, plus, not only that, in the first book, that my concern was, because you were writing all those songs, and nobody ever really heard those songs. By putting it in the book, you might even get a record deal. I said, yeah, that sounded good, Marie, yeah. Through all that, the way this was done, this is how it happened, how all those books got done. Those 3 stories, they're all online. You can just look up the titles, and I have audio books and all on there. Okay, so back to the story now. It's all done. And when I got it done, I said, now I got 3 copybooks, handwritten. So I went over with Marie, we made adjustments or corrections, but she says, how are you going to type all that? Because Marie could type, but she said it's going to be hard. You wrote all that. And, I started to look at it all, and I said, oh, man. Because she didn't put names, not too many dates or anything in the story. She got it real condensed because I asked her about that. I said, Marie, why you made it short? She said, yeah, but I made 3 stories, remember, out of 1. And she said, don't you think, the way I wrote it, wouldn't it be easy to add all that later? You can make a long version. I said, yeah, that makes sense, because don't you think if I would have wrote it long about everything that you wanted me to put in there, it'd be harder to take out stuff to make it short, because you'd be afraid you're taking something out to make the story not have the continuity that you wanted. I agree with her with all that. She seemed to know what she wanted to do. So I figured, how am I going to type all this? I could type. I had, school. Not a fast typist, but I could type all right. I'm saying, how am I going to do this? So let me. I went over, checked it out. But it's like chicken scratch. When you have so much like that, 3 books, 3 copybooks. So I took and So let me see here. I was good with electronics. So I had TV hooked up, the DVD player, and a microphone. I said, let's see if I can read it put it on DVD or CD, and I can play it back, and then I can type it. And I eventually did that with all 3 books. What I posted here on social media, the 3 books is what I did. I did a few different versions, but, updated and all, but that's what I had done, when I was doing the manuscripts to type it. So I had all the manuscripts, and one day Marie said, oh, you have them all typed. Oh, that looks good. I said, it's not perfect, Marie. There's needs to be going over, some of the spelling or anything, but at least I got them completed, 3 of them. Type, in the manuscript form. I double-spaced and all like you're supposed to. She said, Frankie, I got a publisher. I said, what? How the heck are you getting a publisher? He said, I'm an unknown songwriter. You're an unknown author. She said, oh, it doesn't matter. I saw advertisement that if you have written any stories, they'll publish it. You send them the manuscript. I said, okay. You got all? Yeah, I have the address and all, and send it. I said, look, I'll put your name. You really wrote it, even though I wrote it, but it's the story's about us. Okay, I sent Real Diamond story. She told me where to send it. I even sent a certified mail. I didn't want to take no chance for it to get lost, with a return receipt. And she was getting calls, because I'm at work and all, doing things, and she got calls, and they said they received it, they were going over it. And she, I think it was about a couple of weeks later, oh, we accepted the book. Of course they're going to accept it. He said, Frankie, they liked the story, they accepted it. And they told me that they have to charge some fees. And I said, wait a minute, Marie. This sounds like a vanity press. He said, well, you better take care of this, because I don't know. So I said, okay. I talked to them. I said, look, they sent the contracts and all. It was up to 2 years to make a decision, and it comes to about $3,000, depending on what services that you wanted. You don't have to pay it all at once. A couple $100 a month or something. I said, this is going to take forever. First of all, I don't like the idea of paying we're going to have the books done. No, I talked to them. I said, look, I'm her manager in this case. I'm handling all the affairs and all. And I don't know if we want to do it that way. Can't you do all the work and then take your money from, the proceeds, and then we would divide up the rest of the money? They said, no, we do it. They told me how they do it. When you pay them all the money that's agreed, they do everything. They print the books and they put it on, they advertise the story and everything. They put pictures or whatever you want, drawing. Okay, I admit, and you work with one person there, on the story, and make any changes or what. So what would happen after the book would come out, whatever the money of the sales of the book, you will get the money first to take from the $3,000, and once you get paid up, then we would only get 50 cents a book after that, which is nothing, So I said, yeah, it doesn't sound bad and all. And company, I know they're reputable because I checked them up. They're still in business now, so it wasn't like it was a scam. So I said to them, look, I'll let you know. You said you got time. If you send back the signed contract and with a down payment, we'll start on it. I said, okay. I told Marie, look, I don't really want to take money to do that. Because first of all, you want your work. You want a publisher that's going to take your work, and based on the merit, the way you wrote it, it's a true story and all. And you're a first-time writer, so that takes from it a little bit, But still, you had two other books to offer too. So if a publisher would take that first book, say it would do good, well, you still have two other books to follow up. She says, so that means they're not going. I said, no, we can't. I'm not going to pay money for that. It doesn't seem right. I mean, I don't say the stories are that great, but they're true stories, And a lot of companies look for that, but it's going to be hard to get a publisher. So I'll try my best, because I know how much it means to you. So I was sending out query letters. I found out how to do it. You know what you're supposed to do? I would send a query letter, and they would answer with, "Sorry, we're not what we're looking for." So they had form letters and all. I said, "Marie, I'm trying. Don't worry." She said, "No, we got it done. The main thing, we got the books done. The stories are done, and you can work on it. It'll give you another project." And I said, "That sounds good." So I kept working on it, and then I really wasn't getting anybody, But Marie understood that that's a vanity press. People they'll take any book just because you're going to pay them, and you could have say, here's a book you have with your name on it and all, and the cover and all, and it makes you feel like you're a big time writer, but it's not. I don't like that. I didn't like that, so I said now. So what happened? This is a good thing she did all that when she did, because months later we're both not feeling that good. She started getting this general anxiety disorder. She didn't even remember anything about them books. So she kept going to doctors, medications and all, and not too good. We're getting around, and we're living all right, and I'm still working on trying to get those books. Marie still, knew about it, but she didn't remember a lot of stuff that she wrote. Of course not. That's why I think she wanted to do it, while it was still, fresh in her mind. But she told me right after that, she said, I said, well, you really want to write the book? She said, yeah. I wrote the books, and you wrote the songs. Yeah? That was a good thing for her. She liked that. The time passes now, we're still together over 40 years. This was after a few years passed after she wrote these books. I'm not getting any publishers or nothing. I'm getting answers and all, but nothing, I'm still trying to do it now, see if anybody's interested. So we got sick. It was getting worse at home and all, and she just couldn't stay. I got her in the hospital, and they took all the tests. This was in the end of 2018. And all 2019, last year she was in the nursing home, and then the hospital, and then passes away in the nursing home. So now I'm all alone, and I'm glad she wrote the stories, though. At least it's something for me to look at, and even though I might not remember what happened, but when I read it, at least I'll know. It can be, jog my memory, about doing that, because I don't think I would have been able to do it like she did it. So that's a big, memory for me. So if anybody is interested in, one of the books that she wrote, you want to try to publish it, get it published, we can work a deal out. Just do the one book, If anybody's interested, now that we all have more time on our hands, remember with this, that we're staying in and all because of that virus and all, the coronavirus, that, people have more time right now if you want to try to work on a project. I thought about, like, book one, Real Diamond, since it's about songs and all that I wrote. Someone's interested in one of the songs, well, I can work on that too. We can work on that. Or it can be because I think Real Diamond, that would be a good movie. Because of the music and all. Or a musical. And right now, I don't know, someone wants to do it. I still have the other two books that can be tied into it. If someone's interested, there's no harm done. If you have time at home now, and you feel like you're interested in that, just contact me. You can contact me through YouTube or Twitter. just let me know. I'd like to work a deal with somebody and get one, or even if someone wants the songs, some of the songs I've been posting them already, but I'm going to play the Real Diamond song again, and you can listen to the lyrics and you'll see how it's a story, the way it is. And she wrote the book from that song. So that song was, say it was a song and then it was a book. It could be a musical, it could be a movie. That title could still be something, And if someone does partner with me, I'm willing to go 50-50. So it's not a bad deal for somebody out there that maybe knows people that do it, or maybe you're in that kind of business. Or you might want to start to get in the publishing business. I think the books would be good to start with, one of them books. Especially Real Diamond, because that has a lot in it. It's got the whole story about us. It has about the songs and everything. So I would have, if anybody wants to make a deal with me, let me know. I'm going to play Real Diamond. I'm going to play it again. Let you hear it. Listen to the lyrics, and then I'll tell you right now, have a great day. Let's see how it comes out here. It should start right up. Yeah, right now.
Diamond, I'd be rich as I could be. But if I had your love, that would be enough for me. Whenever I look at you, your eyes sparkle like a star. Lets me see you. I'll show you the way I feel. Close your eyes and put out your hand. On your finger I will place a wedding band. Real diamond may go from hand to hand, but the love I have for you would be the same in any land. On your face, this was the right time and the right place. This means we can start a new life as Mr. and Mrs. or man and wife.
Well, that's it, folks. And I hope you enjoyed everything, and I look forward to hearing from somebody real soon. Like I said, have a great day.